Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Thanks again so much for tuning in. I'm Simmer Chase. Today is episode number 17 of our speed builds. So today's an exciting one because we're doing a trailer park. Oh yeah! Cannot wait. So we have 6 one-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom mobile homes available in this beautiful garden park-like setting. It features a 2-story clubhouse plus a rooftop outdoor garden. Yes, it also has vertical gardening, and we have stuff for crafters. We have stuff for candle makers. We have stuff for kids. We have a viewing room. We have all different kinds of things going on in this lot. So without any further ado, if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe in the links below. And stay proud. Go out and do something magical. And let's go ahead and dive in now. So the first thing we always start with is just chunking out our first, in this case, building. So I first started out with the idea of doing a trailer park. I haven't seen many really in the gallery, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a huge opportunity. And I wanted to give it like a good park-like feel, you know, so you're gonna see me go through and kind of really add landscaping throughout the whole video because it's kind of the big feature of the park, really more than even the trailers are. But each one's unique in their own way. They're sort of like the most like ran down versions, you know, the ones that are just, you know, not really desirable. And then there's ones that maybe the people that have lived there a long time live in, or the building manager, or somebody like that. So I thought it'd be really cool to just sort of give it that realistic feel. So what I'm doing right now is just kind of getting our first trailer, or mobile home as we'll call it, and we're going ahead and getting that put together now and just kind of getting everything kind of sorted here. So I wanted to give it like a skylight to make it feel a little more modern than what we would otherwise have here in the United States for like your typical trailer park. And I had first started with like the Floridian concept because I wanted it to be very tropical, but I ended up kind of switching it at the last minute, so you'll see what it ends up becoming. But it is available on the gallery now, so you guys can definitely go and download this now. So now we're just kind of getting the insides together a little bit. I wanted to give it a lot of storage. So there's closets, there's going to be kind of different options too based on which unit you get. So there's a lot of really fun, cool features that you're going to kind of see take place in between each of the units to just kind of give them their own unique and really distinct sort of view for the owner, but then also just for like everybody else looking at the buildings and then kind of looking at things from the outside in. And then of course each one kind of has its own sort of skill set, sort of that it's geared towards. So I think it'd be really fun to be able to, you know, just have a lot of different options in a lot. So right now I'm just kind of getting together the last little bits of our remaining loose ends here in the first trailer. So I'm doing all the, like getting ready to do the kitchen right now. And this one I kind of wanted to be the first beginning one. So it's got all kind of it's gonna have the grimy, it's gonna have the gritty, nitty gritty, sort of, you know, caked on dirt in the edges, and just make it more realistic as though it's fairly ran down and maybe hasn't really been occupied by anybody legitimately for a while, if you know what I mean. So it's just kind of, you know, kind of got the bare bones, but then it looks very, very tired, and which is what I was really going for with this unit. And then from there I started that as like the baseline, and then we kind of just go up from there, you know, so that it's kind of different kinds of quality and classes of people maybe living within this park that all just kind of generally and genuinely feel as though they belong in like an eco sort of lifestyle and living, to the point of where, you know, you're kind of co-oping. So there's going to be a garden that I'm going to build out here in a moment, you're going to see as well. But it's really fun because the garden, I really love the new eco features and being able to have the vertical gardens. So I really kind of gave that really fun look. So now here in this house, I really wanted to give it some extra feature too. So like the bay windows are being utilized. I made like an extra cushion there for our fun little, you know, banquette thing there, and everything kind of in the doorway. So when you walk in, you can take your shoes off, put them on, and have like a really nice comfy surface. So what you would do to make that is just, it's pretty simple, but all you do is just, you know, do the 0 and 9 keys. But you have to hold down the Alt key first to get sort of your item in place. And then you have to put it kind of underneath the window and then crank it up with the 9 key. And then 0 is going to be your down key. So if you like overshoot or it looks like it's floating, then yeah, you just have to hit the 0 key a couple times. So now I'm just putting together the first bedroom, and now you're kind of seeing all the like, you know, nitty gritty stuff going in and all the grungy and, or they call broody things here in the game. So all that's kind of coming in together now. And then again, more plants, and I really wanted to give it sort of that really rustic, you know, kind of trailery vibe too. So I went with the Star Wars lighting package that we just got. So there's just a lot more options to be able to kind of, you know, decorate and then make things feel a little more grungy or a little more industrial, or in this case manufactured. So that's kind of like the beginning. So, you know, I kind of went with that really bland, you know, like wall panel looking wallpaper, because like when I lived in a modular home, which is kind of the same thing but without the wheels, it was funny because, you know, we kind of had those like not really drywall, not really wallpaper sort of combination wall panels. So I kind of wanted to give it that character a little bit here and kind of bring up a little bit of architecture from my childhood that I had to live through. So now I'm just kind of getting through and piling in all of our various and very exciting, but yeah, so getting all these really intricate designs, you know, kind of laid out and get everything really put together so that it feels like a community as well, and yet there's still enough space to accommodate gathering spaces and to kind of spread them out to where there's walkways in between them so everybody can kind of get around everywhere they need to go within the park. So I'm kind of making sure now that everything is level because I want to make sure that they all look kind of consistent. Some of them do and don't have porches, so like the one that I'm working on right now, it actually has the sort of like just a little side step and railing, so it's just, you know, really plain and kind of basic, because again, it's all about kind of developing different classes of units for different sorts of like income levels. So now we're getting together like the container area. So the containers were fun. I really love being able to build container, like actual containers to be able to reuse. And I want to really kind of keep them that feel too. So everything within the container basically is all the container swatches. And then we've got our pool going in now. I really wanted to make it feel like a resort style a little bit. So you're going to see me really kind of go hog wild with the landscaping here in a moment, which is something I've really found a passion for. Because again, it's all about kind of creating that realism. And I think you really get that real well with the game and then kind of the features that you kind of incorporate into it as well. So, okay, so now the ladders, oh my gosh, those things, they are a little tricky, not even gonna lie. They're definitely a little bit tricky because I was gonna do like one on each side, but then I was like, I ended up scrapping that because honestly, it was so frustrating because I did not have any room whatsoever to cram in that other one on the side because it kept wanting to just make it go inside, and I'm like, and no matter how many times I hit rotate, it would not go and fit correctly. So yep, we're doing one. But I thought it was okay because then I ended up kind of making a whole different sort of area for that anyways, that I thought would make more sense. Alrighty, so now we're just kind of coming through, getting all of our windows together. It took me a moment to kind of figure out what windows I wanted to, because I wanted to make it feel really whimsical and then sort of give it that open air feel as well, so that if you're like growing things, then it's just got a lot of natural air to come through as well. And I know a lot of people that want to live in like a resort style park-like feel, they definitely want to have like those bracing breezes and things just coming at you from like the inside and the outside, almost as if it's like a blurred line there. So now I'm just kind of getting all of our walkways put together, mailboxes in place, you know, the usual kind of stuff to really make it feel like home. Oh, and I love I love these seats, like the seats, and I really love the umbrellas and the umbrella tables. Just, that was probably my most favorite stuff pack, honestly, aside from like laundry day, but any of like the core faves that everybody loves, mine's probably perfect patio, because it just adds so many things that I use on an everyday basis. Like every time I'm building a house or any building, I'm pretty much always dipping into that palette of the backyard stuff pack. So it's just a lot of fun to use and just kind of incorporate a lot of more like whimsy elements and just different pieces. So now I'm just getting my landscaping kind of together in just this initial part here, and then you're going to really start seeing it fly in here in a moment. Cool. So, and hydrangeas are like one of my favorites too. So I always use a lot of hydrangeas. And then I recently discovered that wisteria or whatever it is too. And then like that baby's breath or whatever. It looks like baby's breath kind of to me. But I really like being able to layer the flowers so they look more realistic. And sometimes I may like make them bigger or smaller to again layer. And so that's one of my like little secrets that I would kind of share if I ever could, was just to let people know that it's really good to layer a lot of that, because then it just doesn't pixelate and look boring and like one big chunky row of flowers. It's like broke up a little bit and it looks more natural. So now I'm just kind of coming through here and getting the last parts of our outdoor garden put together, getting the roof deck up here done. So I really love the ability to have this sort of feature within the park and being able to give people something to do upstairs, downstairs, all around, and just kind of maximize the space and the whole lot, square to square. So, okay, now it looks like I'm just coming back through and getting more of the exterior kind of stuff done. So I really love all those hanging baskets and stuff that we can scoop up from the new Nifty Knitting Pack. So you'll see me use that a lot too, but I just really love it so much. So you're going to see me kind of use those objects a lot, especially outdoors, because I just think they're really fun community sort of objects. So they just remind me of things that you would see, like at a shelter house or, at a park like that, where it just kind of has that covered awning that people go under. We call them shelter houses. I'm not sure what it's really called, but okay, so now I'm just kind of getting the back end of the park kind of done, and right now I'm using the dark filter, just so that I can kind of really drive home the lighting package that I really put together for this, and just all of the different lights and options that we have, but especially from Star Wars now. I know there's a lot more like path lighting and that kind of stuff that I would definitely encourage people to use if they decide to finally make the jump and get the pack. I highly recommend it. So I then kind of come in and dress up the interior of our container, and so now it's got like the little clubhouse space area for you to watch TV, and then you're gonna see all like the decoration stuff come in. Okay, so all of that is like the swing set and all the kid kind of stuff. And then I really wanted to make sure that it was eco-friendly, so there's just a lot of eco-friendly features. And then there's just, the candle making and all that kind of stuff. But I just really wanted to kind of utilize a lot of the Star Wars stuff that we just got too, especially on the pathways and stuff like that, because they just, like all the different community sort of exterior areas, because they really spend a lot of time in making really high quality objects for that pack, and so I enjoy using them because it just adds more variety to what we already have, but then it just kind of gives us a greater depth to the overall builds that we have, because the new stuff that they made for Star Wars is a different scale than what we generally use. So it's a lot bigger, but then when you shrink it down, it's a little bit easier to manage, I would say. So there's like 3 good chandeliers at least, and then a few floor lamps, I think, too, that are just really cool for the outside. So that's why you see a lot of those here in the game that I made, because I was just like, oh, I need to just put in these because I needed some sort of pathway lighting, but I really wanted it to feel whimsical and sort of like old world a little bit, and I really feel like that's what really drives it home. And then I like blending it in with those that you see there a minute ago, but it was just like the really fun, awesome, like bar, you know, sort of like, I guess it's like a quintuple, like the 5, you know, sort of like prism sort of light fixture. That I love that, and I think it just goes, all that sort of mixed metal really goes well together when you look at it. Now that we've got the Star Wars stuff to kind of pull it all together and give it that good industrial or like postmodern feel, or if you're wanting like an old classic feel too. So now we're doing the pergolas and all that kind of stuff, getting in the last of our pieces here. And then I just kind of ran through the inside a little bit, just to kind of see what it's like, you know, kind of from the first person's perspective. It's so helpful to see how that looks. Cool. So now we're coming through here and just kind of getting more of the exterior lighting, and I really just like having that sort of canopy of lights almost, just so that you walk under it and it's just like, oh, this really fun whimsy lighting everywhere. And at first I had to check because I wasn't sure if they could actually walk under them, so I wanted to make sure, and they definitely can. Those are pretty tall. So it really, I think, worked out pretty well for the design. And then I'm just kind of coming through now and just individualizing each of the units. So some of them are going to be really top shelf looking, and others almost as grooty as our first one, but not quite as bad. It's going to be a little more refined in certain areas just to kind of give it that feel of individuality. And then here again, I'm kind of going with the clusters and doing the lighting clusters. I really love being able to really make it something different and unique to look at, especially when I'm trying to do like sort of an art installation with lighting and the different lighting fixtures, because when you start grouping them together, then they're almost like a whole nother light fixture. Alrighty, cool. So now we're just getting in their laundry stuff, which every unit has a little laundry room there and sink, as well as 1.5 bathrooms. And then this part over here was really cool too, because I really liked kind of the idea of going with one that was really like old Hollywood, you know, like maybe there's an old retired soap star or somebody like that was like, ew, I need a house and I want to retire somewhere in the South, and this like really fancy bougie community where I can just kind of live off the land and socialize and work together as a farmer kind of thing. And so I just like envisioned that for this sort of unit. So I kind of like when I was making these, I kind of had a person or a type of person in mind for each one I designed, just because I wanted to give it that really funny, interesting look too. So like I even did like a little toilet mat there, you know, so guys know what I mean. Well, and gals too, probably. I'm sure you guys have all like kind of had to experience like what it's not like having a bath mat like that. So I thought it'd be fun to throw one in. And then of course there's no cracks in this one. It's like the perfectly conditioned one. So there's like fireplace and all kinds of really fun stuff. Just a lot more detail and a lot more features and fixtures within the house, and then just more options. And then I think I end up, yeah, so like on this one it's really fun because I was actually like, ooh, I just am gonna replace all these cabinets too. So it's just gonna be the top shelf unit. So, you know, and even maybe somebody actually retired from Hollywood and decided to go buy their own trailer park and then live in it and take care of it. But then also rent out the rest of the units. So that's kind of what I think could be another plausible idea for these people too, or these Sims. So I think that it'd be really fun to be able to just watch them like, oh, huh, they're more like real life. And I really like being able to do the, like, above the windows for the cabinets as well. But again, that's a paid extra feature. So, yep, gotta pay extra for some of those features. Cool. And then I really like the idea of putting a mirror in between those windows. So I ended up going around real fast and, you know, just popping it into each unit. And then some of the units, I even like changed the color of the exterior, so they're each individual. And you can tell like they're each different from just the outside. And then this is just sort of like a medium, like quality one. It's not gonna be like amazing, but at least everything's gonna work kind of thing. And I love these two because I was like, oh, I don't really have much seating along my pathways. Let's go ahead and build that. So that was like my next idea then, was to really build all that together. So we have that now. Ooh, and I love those sunflowers. They're so fun. Oh my gosh. Cool. So now I'm just kind of jogging around again and peeking at everything, getting the last bits of this unit done as well. And then once I get the units done, then I circle back to the overall building, and I'm just like, and then the overall sort of design of the lot, and then each individual building I just kind of give one more glance to and kind of go through one last time. But right now I'm just kind of going through and getting the last couple units kind of squared away. So it's gonna be really fun to kind of watch these come together, because I went really bold with some of the colors and designs on these last couple ones. So I used a lot of the Island Adventure stuff. I used a lot of things from Star Wars, but then I just kind of threw in a few other different objects from just, you know, around the collection as well. Because I just kind of wanted to give it that really fun, vibrant design in this house, or trailer, as we would call it. Cool, so there's that gone. So now we have like a little bit more spa-like feel in this one too. Cool. And then I'm coming back through with just a lot of different pieces than I've used in the other units, and really what I tend to not use that much of, even when I'm actually playing the game. So now we're just, oh, and then that was fun too, because I actually merged like the countertops and that kind of stuff to make them just really different. And again, to kind of give it that sort of, that vessel sink look, you know, because we only have like one vessel sink, but I use it sometimes. But with this one, I felt like it really wasn't necessary. So, and I don't think it really would fit well, so I made my own, which I like doing. And again, all you have to do is just make sure to have move objects on, the bb.move objects on sheet, and then make sure that you hold down Alt and then place your cabinet. And then the other one, you're gonna have to move your cabinet up like 1 or 2 bumps. So you'll want to hit 9 like twice, just to make sure that the cabinet still goes up and over the other cabinet, like the sink. And so then from there, then it'll merge together like you saw. Cool. So now we're just coming through, getting this bedroom together. And then this one, I wanted to give it just a little, again, more vibrant, but also to make it feel more exciting as well. So there's just a lot more kind of changes that I make along the way. Cool. And now I'm just kind of pulling together the design elements too of this room. And I really love the San Myshuno, or not San Myshuno, the, oh, what is it? Let's see here. The Moschino stuff pack. Yeah, the Moschino stuff pack is really great. I really dip into a lot of that and get famous for bathrooms because I really love the wallpapers. And then I really, really love the scheme of the design of, let's see here, the Moschino stuff pack. Okay, and then just a little detail, like more whimsy, you know, just there's not enough whimsy that can happen in this place, honestly. And there's so much room to still add things and kind of morph the designs a little bit, so you guys can definitely make it as you want. But it's just really fun piece to be able to kind of make and have the opportunity to make like this whole thing versus just like one house but trying to do several. But I'm glad that I, you know, really stuck to kind of the traditional 1.5 bath, 1 bedroom sort of thing, like a smaller design. Cool. And then this house I'm just kind of pulling together a little bit more and going back in between them because I wanted to make sure that all the colors were kind of set up correctly, and then make sure that sort of each of our designs just sort of is cohesive at the same point. So like the one I painted red, and then I kind of go to another one that's a little darker. And then I also really wanted to make sure that we had really fun abilities to do like all kinds of like exterior color and just color everywhere. So this one is actually going to be like our last grungy one or grungy any of those. It's really cool though. Like I like being able to have sort of that mixed medley here. So you're gonna see this one kind of come back a little bit to more grungy, but not as grungy as the other ones. So you're like kind of mid-market at this point. And then those really fun crafted tables. I love them. Oh my gosh, they're so much fun to use because they go with a lot of stuff actually. I'm really surprised with the swatches because a lot of the swatches don't necessarily like match together very well. So it's always kind of a bummer a little bit when you're like, ah, cool. And then I'm just kind of bringing in like the last little design elements for this one. And I just kind of wanted to upgrade the cabinets a little bit in color, but I didn't want them to be a different cabinet. So that's what I'm kind of bringing in here, is just to kind of give it a little bit extra cabinetry than it had before. But to kind of leave the same views to like, you know, grungy look. And maybe they'll get married there. I mean, who knows? Like, maybe, you know. But if anything, I thought an arch would just look cute there, so I'm gonna use this arch. And then the little bit modern bar there as well. I really love being able to do that too. So then here's more of that grungy apartment, or I mean, trailer, the grungy trailer. Can't forget the knife block. Ooh, and I love like a lot of the other like clutter and stuff. I've really started to get into a lot more clutter and kind of really finishing out the spaces that I make a little bit more with more clutter. And so it's really fun to kind of have that extra bit of oomph in the design, you know, and like kind of carry it across into that realistic, real design. Versus it just kind of looking plain. And so, you know, like the toilet paper holders and the towels and all that kind of stuff. Therefore, like when I first started, it was harder for me to like have all the time to be able to, you know, put it all in. But as I got better, then I started playing The Sims, like, you know, probably 3 years ago, I would say 4 years ago, when I started getting pretty good at it. Then that's when I started incorporating more of the stuff. So if you're starting out new, just kind of, you know, don't worry about that stuff necessarily because it's not required for the game. It just kind of adds some extra fluff and makes it look cool. They're not gonna like run out of toilet paper, which would be really funny, but they're not. They don't even use it technically. Like you never like see them grab it or it run empty, which would be really funny. Cool. So then there's the rest of this grungy sort of unit here, and I wanted to kind of make it feel like, you know, if you like put up these portraits or paintings, that it'd be funny that, you know, you would just go in and say, oh no, I cracked the wall, you know, and like so they like hang these heavy pictures up and stuff and they crack the wall, or, you know, they like maybe punch the wall or something. Okay, so here's what we end up calling it: Eco Co-op Trailer Park. The Eco Co-op Trailer Park. Because I wanted to have that co-op-like feel and to make it feel like, you know, there's a good community here. So here's kind of our spin around, and you guys can kind of see the inside, the outside, and around. So thanks again so much for tuning in. And I hope you guys have a great day. Stay proud and go out and do something magical. Thanks again so much for tuning in.